Every financial disaster has warning signs, but people only recognize them after it's too late. In the late 1920s, Americans believed the markets could only go up. Optimism turned into greed, and greed turned into blindness. Then, without warning, the first cracks appeared. Panic spread faster than the truth, and a decade of confidence vanished in days. What followed was the darkest economic collapse in modern history, a 90% wipeout that no one believed could ever happen. But here's the part almost everyone ignores. The same psychological traps that led to 1929.
Here's the perfect snapshot of that blindness. This wasn't just some random guy talking. Irving Fisher was one of the most brilliant, most respected economists on the planet, and just weeks before it all fell apart, he basically declared the party would go on forever. You see, nobody thinks the party can end until it does. And then came the crash. One brutal, violent break, followed by a devastating 89% wipeout. Let that sink in. Nearly everything, gone. And you can see it in the faces, in the breadlines. That's the real human cost of ignoring what the charts were screaming. Let's start with this thing called the yield curve inversion. It sounds complex, but the idea is simple. It's when the market signals it's more nervous about the immediate future than the long term. Historically, it's one of the most reliable warning lights on the economic dashboard. And as you can see, that light has been blinking red. Next up, we have this absolute monster of a chart, U.S. national debt. Look at that line. It's not a gradual slope, it's a vertical wall. It's gone what we call parabolic. And anytime you see a chart do that, whether it's a stock or a country's debt, it's a sign that the system is under an incredible amount of stress. And here's one I think we all feel in our bones: housing. The price of an average house has completely disconnected from what the average person actually earns. That space between the two lines, it's not a gap anymore, it's a canyon. This is another textbook signal that things are seriously out of balance. And finally, what about a modern tech bubble? This chart basically measures how expensive stocks are compared to their actual value. See that crazy peak on the left? That was the dot-com bubble in 2000. Now, just let your eyes drift to the right. Looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? That's today, fueled by all the hype around AI. You know, just for a second, ignore my voice and just look at the shapes. These curves are screaming a very similar story, just in a different century. If these visuals are opening your eyes, do me a favor and hit like so more people can see this. This right here, this is the universal script for every market bubble in history. It's a roadmap of emotion. The smart money gets in during the quiet phase. The big institutions catch on next. And then, bam, the public rushes in at the very peak, during the mania, right before it all comes crashing down. You know, Warren Buffett really just nailed it with this quote. He said that investing success isn't about having a genius-level IQ. It's about having the temperament, the emotional control, to stop yourself from doing the dumb things that get everyone else into trouble when they're driven by fear and greed. 5. History's rhyme. Patterns hard to ignore. So let's bring this all home. Is today going to be an exact carbon copy of the past? Of course not. But the deep-seated patterns of human behavior create these powerful echoes. You know that famous line, "History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes." And just look at this final comparison. On the left, the hard reality of that exploding debt chart. On the right, that timeless emotional map of a bubble. The shapes, the steepness, the feeling that a system is being pushed to its absolute limit. Well, those two charts are rhyming in a way that's getting really hard to ignore. Conclusion. If this breakdown helped you see these patterns a little more clearly, please tap that like button. It really does help get this information out there. And now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these charts has you most worried right now? The yield curve, the national debt, housing, or the AI bubble? And what, if anything, are you doing to prepare?